Welcome to another episode of The Inquisitive Analyst. I'm your host, Marcus Udikang. It's the show where we chat about business analysis and project management issues and the challenges and triumphs within those fields. It's inspiring, it's informative, and very much inquisitive. My guest today has a very strong experience in software project management, and she has worked in various project management roles, from a team lead to a data and platform PM, an infrastructure and security PM, as well as a release manager. She's also been a teaching assistant at Université du Québec à Montréal, which is also known as Quebec University at Montreal. So please help me welcome to today's show, joining us all the way from Montreal, Canada, Soha Karjawally. Welcome, Soha.
Thank you so much, Marcus. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I thought I would start out by asking you how you got started in project management and why.
Oh, good question. Well, it's been a long time that I worked in IT. It was always something that I felt women are not that much in this field, and it was challenging. So I said, well, let's get this done. And so I started in IT, and I started even networking, support engineering. And with the time, I felt that, well, I can do more. Because I love a lot the details, the analysis and everything related to this. So I said, well, you know what, I'm going to continue my master degree in software engineering, and then we'll see how things will go. So I started as a business analyst in this field in software engineering, and then, but I did development as well before that. So I said, well, business analysis is more the thing that I prefer. With the time, I felt that well, I can do more than this. I can oversee stuff, manage more things related to the project. So I started taking more tasks and activities and leading releases. With time, I found that, well, finally I can take the project. So I accepted the project coordinator role, and with time I felt that, well, the project management as a whole is something that's really interesting. Yes, you can take some courses in the university, but it's not like when you are doing this on a daily basis. So I felt that it's very important to have a solid knowledge and like kind of certifications and practices, workshop, being in the community. And this is where I decided, well, project management is the thing that I would like to do, and dealing especially with people. Something that I really love and appreciate is that as a PM, you have this luxury to be in the middle of everything, and to be a good listener as well, and to have this empathy and to know about the requirement of the people. So yeah, project management, I think that it covers most of the part that, let's say, similar to my personality, and of course the challenges that comes with it, the risk, the actions that you have to deal with on the spot, and the vision. So yeah, that's why. And I feel that with time, I am more and more, the title can change, but behind this, you have to deal always with projects, and you have to deal always with leading this and leading people and teams, and it's nice. It's something that I really appreciate. This is how now I'm doing, actually.
Fantastic, great stuff. Now let's talk a bit about best practices, tools, and best processes when it comes to requirement specifications. What are your recommendations for PMs when they want to write requirement specifications? Any best practices or best processes?
Well, best practices. Actually, with the time, well, long time ago, we used to gather the requirement of the customers and put them in a spreadsheet, and then trying to have the requirement traceability matrix. Leading agile projects is something different. Today, you cannot get everything as before, like years back. And even we discovered that it's not even feasible. It's not accurate. People will discover new things. You have additional stuff that we didn't think about. So changes is always here and there. So what we do and what I started doing, we have many tools that are today available for us. You have the Miro board, you have the way how you track this, you connect this to the Jira, you have the Excel files, you can have some requests from emails. The most important part is to track everything in one centralized way and to link this to the objectives of the project. I start light with the requirements in a way that I can understand and the team what is required at the end to be done. And depends on the life cycle that you choose for the project. Sometimes you would do just-in-time planning, and then you do you uncover what is the requirement in details, and sometimes you need more details because you need to confirm some architecture. So there's no one recipe I can say, but it's always good to iterate. You start something, have one tool, always trace this to the link it to the objectives of the project. You can use whiteboard, start simple in a way that you start with this and then you iterate, just-in-time planning sometimes, or rolling wave. It depends on your cycle, but it has to be visible, accessible, and simple. Be simple, because if it's complex, people will not use it. It will not be updated all the time, and it's going to be like the one outdated quickly.
I like that. Yeah, always be prepared, and you've got to get that prioritization, no doubt.
Of course, it's always important to know that if I have a set of objectives in for my project, what is the most important to get the value? The quicker I have value, this is how I get to into prioritization. Of course, sometimes you have to deal with how we call this, when you have, for example, for the security projects, you have some audit that has to be done, and compliance requirements. This is also some constraint that has to be put in priority. So prioritizing this and being always in touch with your sponsor since the beginning, it's very important to help you to track these requirements and to face any kind of risk that you may have during the project.
Yeah. In addition to risks, you sometimes have these hurdles you have to get over top. And in your experience, when it comes to estimating required resources or estimating time and effort, that kind of thing, any hurdles you've experienced and ways to overcome them?
Oh yeah, definitely. Software engineering is something that not tangible. So you start with ideas, and with time you discover, well, maybe this is not even feasible. So they have a lot of ideas and dreams, and sometimes it doesn't happen, or they underestimate, especially when the ideas comes from from business. A business department, when they are not into that details about when you are on the field with the developers and how the reality is. So the estimation in this case, and also what the important is that in some cases the estimation high level that is somehow pushed, and somehow it's not the reality. So one of the things that might be a bit difficult when you start a project and is not really clear. For example, in our context, we use sometimes open source, and or we do kind of research and development projects. So nobody else has done this before. So it's hard to say, well, this will take 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. Sometimes it's really difficult. What I used to try with the team, or with the teams even, is to have kind of proof of concepts to validate the architecture, if this is feasible or not. And then it depends. There's no one estimating way that you can follow. You have to mix the techniques, and you have to take care of the maturity of the team as well. Some teams are mature enough to give you right away because they are SMEs. They can do analogous estimation, and other teams are not. So they have to do some t-shirt sizing, you have to do poker planning, or you can even try bottom up, top down. In project management, any PM could give you multiple recipes, but in a single project you have to adapt and you have to use the right tool, and sometimes it's the mix. So what recently I've done, like, we validated the architecture somehow, and then we tried to extrapolate some kind of estimation, taking care of the risk that we can face during the project. And also important thing, because probably there's no in software engineering we tend to be agile more and more these days. So you cannot just say that I did my estimation and that's it, this is the plan. No, it changes, and if you're not aware that it's going to change, well, good luck, because it will. Yeah. And you have to always refine this regularly, and having an eye on your deadline in a way that you deliver always a value fast enough, in a way that your sponsor and stakeholders are happy enough with the results.
That makes sense. Overcoming hurdles. Now, I mentioned before that you've had a number of different roles, and recently, let me see, one role was an infrastructure and security project manager, data and platform project manager. So any lessons learned from either of these roles that we can take away?
Oh yeah, it's actually was it was really nice experience when you jump from software engineering and you come to infrastructure project or security or data and platform. It's kind of difficult to make. It's kind of different actually to try to simulate some of the stuff. For example, for infrastructure, is more related to procurement. There's many risks related to scalability, to performance, to connectivity, and security. The same thing. You have to deal with multiple departments, very much cross-functional, and so the context is different than when you deal with kind of project that is already the customer. It's already defined the scope and everything. In infrastructure, what I learned with the time is that, first of all, make sure that you have the good SMEs since the beginning, because it makes a big difference. That's one. A second thing is make sure you know what they assumed, because when they assume, they are really good at assuming things, and then you discover these risks during the on the way. And so it's important that to ask the good question, like open-ended question. What did you assume here? Oh, well, I assumed this and this and this. Okay, so you know this. Okay, this is a risk. And you come back to it, and probably you make sure that if they assume that this Windows will work with this Linux, and make sure that really it does the job. Yeah, and also something funny that now I say that it's funny, but the connectivity issues. I mean, I've seen this in multiple projects. People underestimate what is the connectivity and how to, especially when you do migration for infrastructure projects, we tend to underestimate the use cases. And again, see the requirements, and the non-functional requirements, especially the non-functional requirements, because it's so much linked to the performance, the reliability, and the satisfaction of the customer at the end, or the usability of the system. So yeah, and maybe at the end, I would say always be close to your sponsors, be close to your stakeholders, and security projects or infrastructure. They have always very large expectation. If you are far and you're not communicating with them often, the risks are detected late, and their interaction. I mean, you miss this opportunity to have their involvement or engagement sooner.
Yeah, involvement, engagement. Get them involved as soon as possible. And actually, talking about involvement, what's been involved with your current role, SRE Team Lead? How do you find that one?
Yeah, it's a very nice role. Today, I lead an agile team. This is a group of people, very talented software engineers. We build, implement critical solutions to provide observability tools that are used in the gaming industry to give a better way to monitor and observe your platform. And this is something that is very important. If you are a gamer, you want your game to respond in a fast manner. So yeah, everything related to observability, reliability, and customer happiness. I also do everything related to the processes improvement. I'm in charge of a team of between 5 to 8 people. Today we are an agile team, so I do the hiring, the evaluation, performance.
Nice.
I do set the OKR. We do also the improvement inside the governance of our department. So it's a large role. It's a combination of doing the management part plus the leading the projects, because also I'm in charge of everything related to the delivery, the planning, and the roadmap of 3 products related to observability. So yeah, it's a challenging role. It's nice. It's very high tech, and I like it. I like the way we do stuff. It's fast and very much learning in it, and we use very new technologies. So yeah, it's something that is nice.
You have your hands full. That is amazing.
I think this is how I am. I cannot be like bored, and I think this role is really. I love what I'm doing, and I love getting in touch with people. Being with the people is something that I always look for. The leadership in general is something that is more and more in my objectives to get into. So I also have many commitments to leadership committees that I work with. So yeah, it's something. So when you are with people, you see the success. When you see that they are good, when you see that projects are delivered, when you see that they are growing also with this, because this is the happiness that you see when you see that in front of you.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think if you can't work with people, that being a project manager is not for you. That's for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. And you don't even. I mean, it comes with the conflicts as well. This is something that project managers do. So yeah, it has everything. You have to be able to understand the others, to listen to them, to have the empathy, and also to be a good coach. So it's a mix of things. The project manager is not only doing projects. It's way more than this. When leading projects is also a big part, working with the people and leading the success of these people and making a good team. Being better team, and get them success and grow with you.
Now, you ever, in all your experience, you ever had a project that never met a deadline or a budget, and how did you deal with it?
Well, I won't lie. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we sometimes there are some stuff that you cannot control, and we are not perfect. I am not perfect. How to deal with this? I think that the only short and complete answer is to be transparent and to deal with this upfront. Don't wait. Just communicate, and also don't come with just raising the problem. Try to do your duty and try to see what are the alternatives, why this happened, what did we learn, what is the next step, and propose 1, 2, 3 solution. Go see the people that are involved. What is the impact? Prioritize what could be done, and note these lessons learned, and go back to what changes. What was the reason to these changes? Because sometimes we tend to forget that if you look back to a project and you see the change log, somehow you will detect that you have something to learn from, and this is how you improve your processes or your way of working, and the teams, of course.
Fantastic. How do you best escalate? What's your idea of escalating, or should I say, what type of escalation path do you recommend or have you used in the past?
Well, definitely, you need, as a PM, you need to escalate, but you need to escalate wisely. Like, you have to do your job, but in the same way, you don't have to procrastinate when you need to escalate. Don't waste time when the project is at risk. However, don't go to the don't take the escalation path without having a face-to-face communication with the person that has caused this or has an issue. The issue is on his part, and of course, something very important, because conflict happen, and we have to deal with them. But still, we don't have to finger point. We have to make sure that to pinpoint the problem, not the person, because sometimes there are some problems that can arrive. Nobody is perfect, but still, if you try to escalate, start by seeing the person, try to fix it. If it didn't work, tell that, well, I tried this and this and this, it didn't work, and I see these are the impacts, and we are at risk. I'm going to escalate and to the correct, using the correct channel, so they are not surprised. I think this is the way how I always did, and I suggest this way. Of course, one thing that I kept in my previous project, actually, that had some difficulty, like kind of a matrix, that if you need to escalate on this and this and this topic, so this is the person, or the correct person in what kind of issues or type of problems that you can have, delays or whatever. So you know how to deal with it fast, and you have this up front.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's good. So if say, for example, now you might escalate this, you might not, but say, how do you deal with something like scope creep or even gold plating? What's the best way to deal with it? Are you going to escalate it, or are there other alternatives?
Well, I think that there's change happen, see, and people can discover things during the life of the project. So I would expect that some kind of scope creep arrives somehow. Now, how to deal with it is a different story, because as long as you have the objectives of the project clear, the requirements are clear, everybody knows, kind of the project charter somehow, or the project vision. You have to go back to these points and tell, okay, you tell me how this is linked to our project objective. How do you see this? Clarify this, and prioritize. Once you can prioritize and what gives value, sometimes you end up knowing that, well, we missed something in the at the beginning. Probably we need to change. So this is how I would suggest, starting by looking at the project objectives and then prioritize and be able to adapt, because today we don't have one plan, we don't have one set of requirements, and things change. As long as you deliver value and fast enough, and people are aware of what's going on and linked to the project objectives, you're in good way.
It's all about agility. Now, I was looking online at some stuff about you, and I saw, this blew me away. I saw that during university you developed what's called an Aeronautical Maintenance Management System, AMMS. Now, okay, well, that's one thing, that's fine, but what was this for? You wanted to target the maintenance management of the UH-1H helicopter for the Lebanese Air Force. Now that must have been an awesome experience. Any brief details about what that involved?
Well, yeah, actually, it was like a long time ago, and I was at university, and we had to do this final project at the end of the year. It was nice because we end up asking each other as a team, what can we do, and by chance we had at that time, I think he was there was, I think, a captain. So he was a captain. I don't know in English if this is the good title for this guy. And he would end up saying, well, you know what, we have something like a good idea for the project. He was a pilot, And so we started discussing about the helicopters, what do you do? And we ended up discovering that, well, the maintenance system that they use is more manual. And I'm like, really? It's like, yeah, so we can do something like to automate this, and that could be a nice idea. So, when helicopters fly, they need the maintenance system every time. So you track the time, how much is the distance, when the due date to do this maintenance, and in a way that the whole group of helicopters are always ready to fly, and you don't have any issues picking one. So there's a cycle. And the fact that it was a big part was done by manual stuff. So we end up automating a good part. Of course, it's still a project for university, but I'm still proud of, because it was a nice experience getting to know how military is, and the army, the organization, the people, the way how they work. Yeah, it's different, and it was really amazing. I still have good relationship because of this project with some people back then. So yeah, it was really nice.
That blew me away. I thought that must have been one of the most fascinating projects that, certainly if I was on it, I would have found it just amazing.
Yeah, it is, because I learned many things, and by chance, when like years after, I was reading a book, and something mentioned the LH something, and I'm like, oh, this is a helicopter. I'm like, my husband was like, what? How did you know? Yeah, I know this because we worked like.
Because you worked on the helicopter. That's amazing. That and working on like military boats, that would have been just amazing for me. So
for me it's amazing, because it's really different how they work, the organization, it's different than when you deal with just the
IT
word
stuff.
how we see it.
Well, military is, they do things in a totally different way. It's not like working for the civilians, where, oh yeah, if it's not ready today, that's fine, we'll kind of work around. Military, if you don't get things done on time, they're bang 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 bang. So you got to be on on your toes. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, if anyone in the audience wants to get in touch with you, so how can they do so?
Well, today I have my LinkedIn, and I have the contact information on this site. So I'm not into that much social media. I'm also on the community of project management, and I'm part of PMI. So I can also be reached out there. And that's it.
Fantastic. I was going to say, yeah, because I used to be quite active on projectmanager.com. I remember seeing you there quite a lot, but I'm not as active these days. So certainly that's another way people can get in touch with you, which is pmi.org. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, thanks for being on the show. So it's been absolutely fabulous having you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It was really a pleasure. Thank you, Marcus.
Oh, you're welcome. Have yourself a fantastic day in Montreal, la ville de Montréal.
Bien sûr.
All right. C'est tout. Thank you. Bye-bye. And now a word from our sponsors. The Lewis Institute provides an enterprise project management program that does more than just train PMs. It helps support them from the CEO level on down. These courses help certify project leaders and prepare them to pass the PMP exam. The Business Agility Institute provides Emergence, the Journal of Business Agility. This quarterly publication brings you inspiring stories from the most innovative companies. Use the promo code ANALYST to get a 10% discount on your annual subscription.